today's catch out day. Got some chickens that are selling tonight. I actually sold 2 houses last night and 2 tonight. It was pretty cold last night. It's gonna be really cold tonight. So it's 11:30 in the morning right now. My truck says it's 26 degrees. Last I checked, the low tonight is 9, which is very rare for around here. The catchers will be here at 1 a.m. to start catching. I got 2 houses going, so I'm saying it'll be 6 a.m., 7 a.m. before they finish up. So it's gonna be a cold night. We're not supposed to get any snow. The weatherman, they'd gone back and forth on if it was gonna snow here. It's actually snowing south of here. I saw Panama City is supposed to get like 3 inches of snow, which is probably, I don't know, it's pretty unheard of. But gonna get things going. I've got some fences in my houses, got to go through and get those pulled out. I'll be turning feed off at 3:30, raising feed lines starting at 9:30, and then catchers around 1. Want to make sure to do a really good job of getting all the water out of my water lines, because obviously when the catchers come, indoors are open. Got to run at least a couple fans, and so it's gonna be well below freezing in the chicken houses. So I'll make sure I get all the water out of all my water lines, so we don't have any issues starting back up next flock. But y'all come along with me. It's gonna be a cold night. Eric, he'll be selling chickens in 2 days. It's gonna be pretty much a heat wave for him. Not quite a heat wave, but it's supposed to be, I think, lows in the upper 20s, which is still pretty cold around here. But this will probably be the coldest catch out I've ever had, and I hope it is the coldest I'll ever have. But y'all come along and let's get rid of some birds. It's been tough trying to ventilate these birds here lately. It's running about 69.3 degrees in here. But it's challenging when it's that cold outside, trying to keep the birds comfortable, but also trying to keep the houses ventilated as good as we can. But I'm gonna go through and take the fences out. So I've got this fence here. There's a black pipe in the back, and then I've also got a fence up there in the front towards my tunnel end. But there go the fans. See if you can see any of the cold air pulling in. Got fences out, fans cycled, kicked on some heat. So it's pretty unusual towards the end of a flock to be running heat, even when it's cold, because those birds produce a good bit of heat. So it's really more important that you have your ventilation going. Time to start turning off some feed. It's 3:30 in the afternoon. My first feed up time is 9:30. So I usually do a 6-hour cleanup, which means give them 6 hours to eat everything out of the pans before I raise them up. We're sitting at 24 degrees right now. So the forecast has gone back and forth a little bit on possible snow today. There's about a 30 to 40% chance in the next few hours of some snow flurries, but if it does, I don't think it's gonna be a lot. I actually went on my phone just a minute ago, or about 10 minutes ago, and turned the feed off from there on the controller, hoping that when I get down here, I can just shut that bin and then come in here and hopefully I can turn the feed on, go ahead and clear out all the feed that's in my fill system, start getting the hoppers emptied out. That's pretty much got my fill system cleaned out. I usually let it run for probably another 30 seconds just to get all that withdrawal feed out of there. A couple of my feed lines are already running. I always go through once I turn my feed off. I go ahead and turn my lights on 100%. Get those center lights turned on. So the bird activity will pick up here for just a few minutes. They'll get up, start eating and drinking, but then it just keeps them a little more active to eat that feed, finish it up. Usually 6 hours is plenty of time to eat all the feed that's in these pans. I've still got some feed in my hoppers. I usually give it 45 minutes or so, and I'll finish running that out. I can also set a program on my controller to do that as well, to do it for me, run for like 5 minutes. So sometimes I'll do that. I'm gonna open this other feed bin back up because house 4 is not cut off yet. I'll cut them off in about 2 more hours, so then their feed lines will go up at 11:30 tonight. And we'll see how much feed I got left here. I'm gonna guess I've got about 18,000 pounds right now, give or take. So probably 16,000 pounds or a little more by the time I get done cutting everything off. But so they're good for a little bit. I actually sold 2 houses last night. I may have already mentioned that, but I've got the vents open in those houses because we were going through. Sometimes there's a few dead birds left over or whatever, some chickens I don't catch. So we went through today and got all those up. But I'm gonna go back and close my vents up because with it being 9 degrees tonight, I don't want it getting too cool in there. Once the catchers were done last night and I had everything closed up, these houses with no heat on, no fans on, the indoors shut and everything like that, they were running about 50 to 55 degrees. So shouldn't have any issue with the empty houses. For a winter flock, this house doesn't look too awful bad. So you can see with the vents open, it's averaging 47 degrees in here. Close these vents up and the temperature will probably go up a little bit. One nice thing about having an empty chicken house is you can park some equipment inside it. So when it's super cold, our equipment's in here, and you're not having to crank a tractor outside when it's 9 degrees. You're cranking a tractor in a chicken house where it's 50 or so degrees. Well, got all those tucked in and ready for the night. I'll be back in a little bit to do some more work. It may be nice and cold, and we didn't see any snow flurries. The kids were a little bummed, but the sunset sure didn't disappoint tonight. I'm gonna head back down here in a few minutes. Got the feed turned off in the second house now. So I have to run it out of the hoppers and then take the hoppers out here in a little bit, and we'll keep on trucking along. It's almost time for feed lines to go up, and it is 21 degrees. Headed in the house. Chickens have done a pretty good job cleaning up the pans. It's always hard kind of going from the cold in here filming. The lens tends to fog over, so hopefully y'all can see all right. But the hoppers are coming out, and then these feed lines are coming up. It's a little dusty. Feed lines are up. Went ahead and got my brooders out of the way. Usually I try to get my water lines up about 30 minutes before my catch time. It allows a little bit of time in case you have any problems or if the catchers show up early. I'll turn the water off usually 15 minutes before that, but I think this time I'm probably gonna do 30 or 45 minutes before I'm actually gonna raise them up, make sure that I get all the water out of them, and then may even open the end caps or something, and just to, if there's any water left in there, go ahead and get it out. It's definitely, if there's any water in here, it's gonna freeze. It's 9:30 right now. This house gonna start catching around 1. I'm estimating it'll take them 3 hours to catch. I really don't know. Usually it takes them about 2.5, but I imagine it's gonna be a little bit slower tonight, unless they have some extra guys catching. Y'all wish me luck tonight. I'll bring y'all along to a little bit of filming. A lot of it's kind of dark when they're getting ready to catch and all that kind of stuff, but I'll film what I can. We're getting closer. We're also getting colder. I'm in my little office building. Got some heat going. Gonna go ahead and turn off house number 3. It's about time to get feed lines up in my number 4 house, but got the water turned off, and then I'll go through shortly and get everything up, spouts, all that kind of stuff, and then 30 or 45 minutes before the catchers get here, I'll start working on raising that up. But turn the water off extra early because it's extra cold. Once the feed lines go up and the chickens aren't eating, their water consumption also goes way down. To make sure that they clean the water out of these lines though, I walk my houses, the birds get up, get a little active, but in the meantime I'm also putting up all the sensors, these in-sight tubes here. I'm going to fold those down and basically just prepare these water lines to be raised up. It's still a little bit early to raise the water lines, but for right now I'm going to get everything ready, so if the catchers do happen to show up just a little bit early, I've got it all ready to go. When you start walking around, it gets a little bit dusty in here too, so I like to wear a mask. Try to prevent some of those sinus infections. This house here is not quite as pretty as the 2 that I sold last night. The 2 that I sold last night, they went in at 35 days, and I think they ended up averaging 422, which is very good weight. I didn't think they would be much over 4 pounds. But in the wintertime, to hit 4 pounds or more in 35 days, a lot of things have to be clicking and working right for that to happen. So I don't have as high hopes for these 2 houses, but these are actually going in at 34 days old. So they'll be smaller, but also a day younger. So usually what I'll do is I'll take these end spouts here and I actually just bend them over and hook them inside these, raise them up. But this way, these are opened up so they're in line. So if there's any water in there, it'll come out that end. I'm hoping that means that they're all empty. I'm gonna go through and do that same thing in the front, and then pretty much be waiting to raise my feed lines about 30 minutes before catch out time. The catchers pulled up as I was finishing getting everything ready to raise my water lines, so I went ahead and raised those up. There's just 8 winches across my house. Raise them up, pretty simple. But I didn't want to hold the catchers up trying to get the camera out filming, so didn't get any footage of that. But now you can see that, which I dim the lights down when I raise them up, but between that and then no water, no feed, the bird activity is extremely low. But the catchers will come in here and they'll basically move the birds over, kind of run them over to a half of the house. Basically split it kind of down the middle lengthwise. And then that just allows the forklift to kind of drive in on one side. The cage is open towards the chickens, and then the catchers will go through and catch them. Usually they run 4 to 6 fans. I have 48-inch fans. We'll see how many fans they run tonight. Last night one of the crews was running 3, but it got pretty chilly in the houses. My temperature sensors quit working. But the catcher should be in here in a minute. I don't know what I'll be able to film with them in here because a lot of times it gets kind of dark, but getting closer to being chicken free. It's pretty dark in there now, so they wanted 1 fan on, which I've never had a catch out before where they only wanted 1 fan. But again, it's probably 20 degrees right now. I'm gonna go back in a minute though and check once they open up my indoors and see what the temperature sensors are reading. But these guys are about to get going. It's a little before 1 a.m. And so once they get going, I will probably go try to sleep for about an hour and then come back and start getting the next house ready. I really don't know. Usually 2.5 hours is how long it takes to catch a house, but lost you there. Usually 2.5 hours how long it takes to catch a house, but you know, it may take a good bit longer tonight, so we'll just see. Just pulled back down to the farm after a quick little nap. It's a little after 3 o'clock. My truck says 14 degrees. It's cold. We'll go see how the catchers are doing. I don't know for sure. It looks like they are waiting on a trailer. It's what an awful night to have to stop and wait on a dang trailer. Yeah, so it looks like they're waiting on a trailer, but they don't have a lot to go in that house, so we'll go ahead and get the water turned off in house number 4. Go start working on that house. Usually the screen shows all my temperature sensors over here, but none of them are reading. That's why it's not. It's showing 12.6 degrees outside. Can't really see much in here, but they're getting close to finishing the first house. So this is the house we're catching here. So I just closed up the indoors of my third house, but the first house they're catching tonight. And it's cold. Those poor catchers. I didn't know I had to catch 2 houses tonight, but getting closer and closer. It's probably a little after 4 a.m. right now. So I imagine they'll be done 6:30 or 7. Long night. The chickens are all gone. Time to get these indoors closed up. Let it warm back up in these houses. We'll go through later and clean up what was left behind. Not gonna do that right now. Check on. I took off my end caps off my water lines to let some water out. Looks like all those nipples are frozen. They should thaw out, shouldn't have much water on them, and hopefully it's not going to lead to issues. But that's it. Thank y'all for watching. It's a cold night. Hopefully the coldest that I'll ever have for a catch out. But I got it done. Eric will be selling, I think he's selling 1 house tonight maybe, and then 3 tomorrow night. Not gonna be quite as cold, but still gonna be cold. But hope y'all enjoyed my catch out video. Thank y'all for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe if you haven't already, and come back for the next video.